Rights activist, it says in my script there. Thank you very much, Miranda. Great to have you on the show. I hope you are keeping well. So just tell me now, what do you think about whether or not there's anything potentially a little bit sinister going on? More than half of high street banks signing up to this Stonewall agenda. My concern is that they could use this as an excuse at some point to maybe shut people down. What do you think?
Yeah, of course it's possible. I mean, I think broadly people should be allowed to define their own boundaries. I think that is quite important. I think that there is a danger that the banks, the banks will refuse services or close accounts down for people that they don't want to offer their services to because they consider that the beliefs do not align. Now, I know that there was an unspecified women's group that was referred to in a report by the cooperative bank some years ago, where the bank had refused to open up an account for the women's group because they felt that their beliefs did not align with the bank. And there is a parents group for children who identify as trans, who I understand have had difficulties with their bank as well. It's a group called Our Duty, and I've seen today that they've had difficulty having operating a bank account because they've contravened what the banks consider to be the pure thoughts that support this sacred case that has appeared.
Yeah, and this is it, isn't it? And just tell me a little bit about your views on Stonewall and going into workplaces. They even produce some kind of league table. And I don't think it's as straightforward as is often claimed, which is that, we just come in and we offer some nice advice about how we can all be inclusive and lovely. Because if you're producing a league table of companies and corporations that, are Stonewall allies, and then, at some point you're producing a list of people, aren't you, there, who you are basically saying, very publicly, indirectly or in some way homophobic or transphobic for not really getting on board and taking on board what Stonewall want, which is heavy-duty pressure on companies to embrace a kind of very contested agenda, isn't it?
Well, Stonewall have got absolutely no right to call anyone or any group homophobic, given that their chief executive, I think she's the chief executive, Nancy Kelly, called people who called individuals who have a sexual orientation. She called them guilty of sexual apartheid. Equated it to sexual racism. Same-sex attraction has been equated to sexual apartheid by Stonewall. So they have absolutely no position to lecture people on how to behave towards homosexuals. I think as well with the banks, it really makes me laugh that the banks are pushing these ideas about equality and diversity and acceptance and integration, particularly ideas about equality, given that there is this that there does appear to be this move to take cash out of society, which is going to hit is going to hit people who are working classes and those who are on benefits, who are dependent upon cash to survive. And as ever, the banks are guilty for when we've had low rates of interest since the meltdown, the government bailed out meltdown in the late noughties. The banks have had a borrowing rate of 1 or 2%, while they have been, of course, heavily state subsidised, and they've been charging customers 20, 30, 40% interest rates, an absolutely usurious margin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I really just do not think that banks... It's one thing banks taking a political view, which I would question, but I suppose anyone and any company is really allowed a political view, maybe. But taking a virtue signalling standpoint, and for that to have an impact potentially on people's finances, because it's all very well and good talking, Nigel Farage, well, it's not all very well and good for Nigel, to be fair, but, Nigel has got a platform and he's got, I would imagine, an element of security. He's been in the game quite a long time, etc. But, most people are maybe only one or two paychecks away from financial oblivion. And by the time that you've been cancelled by your bank and then appealed or whatever, gone to court, or then maybe even got an apology and had it reinstated, you quite possibly have had to sell your house, your car, everything you own. You know, your life has been ruined. And this is my concern, which is why are banks even entertaining the idea of getting involved in virtue signalling and wokery?
Well, it's politics. It's the ultimate enforcement. What they can do is they can effectively unperson you if you don't toe the line. I understand the situation with Mr. Farage, that there's a report that the BBC have issued today stating that they believe that his account being closed by Coutts was because he didn't satisfy their wealth criteria, which kind of really gives you an idea about where these banks' thinking really is. But we still have this situation where banks are able to wield this power. If you've got a cashless society,
it puts all the power,
a disproportionate amount of power to the banks.
It does. It puts all the power onto them. And just on that note as well, Nigel has rebutted all of this stuff, right? And there is a video of him on Twitter at the moment saying there's no limit on it, etc. Just a little throw ahead as well. I am actually covering for the big man tonight, Nigel Farage, and you will be hearing from him on all of this. So stay tuned, 7 till 8 p.m. tonight, right here on GB News. We will have Nigel Farage on, bizarrely on his own show, but obviously we've been overtaken by events, so I'll be covering it, but he's going to be on and having a chat about this. So look, Miranda, thank you very, very much. Great to have you on the show. Miranda Yardley there, just discussing about banks getting involved with all the Stonewall stuff and whether or not that might have an impact on you. I don't